Okay. Give it a little bit, or we okay? Hey, good evening. How are you doing? Hopefully you're doing great. Thanks for streaming with us. We appreciate it. Sorry if I'm just a little dark. I had a little camera issue, but I think it's doable, so everything should be okay. Again, we really appreciate you streaming with us, and we've got our first hurricane of the Atlantic hurricane season out there, way out there, kind of east of the Windward Islands. I think in the next couple of days will be a threat to the Windward Islands, will likely become a major hurricane moving through the Caribbean. Now, the Caribbean sometimes can really be like an obstacle course, and sometimes the shear in the western part of the Caribbean gets a little strong, and so may affect Beryl. But anyway, we'll take a look at that. We've got a lot to look at. First of all, tomorrow, heat advisory will continue. Over the last several days, we've had a heat advisory. Heat index values, again, between 105 and 110. 4th of July, the upper level ridge of high pressure stays strong. I think high temperatures will be in the upper 90s to close to 100. And again, not this weekend, we're in this weekend, but the next weekend, we're going to be watching the Gulf of Mexico. Whatever happens with Beryl will be somewhere in the Gulf of Mexico by next weekend. I'll show you what I think is going to happen here in just a second. All right, first of all, heat index values, again, 105 to 110 tomorrow. Heat advisory is in effect from 1 o'clock to 7 o'clock for Frio County, Atascosa, Bexar, and then counties to the north and to the north and east. Current temperature out there, we're at 89. This morning's low, 81 degrees. We didn't even get below 80. Record high is 108, and that was set back in 2013. It's just too humid to hit these record highs, but it felt like about 108 earlier today. And I think tomorrow is going to be very similar. So as we head through the rest of the overnight period, mostly clear skies. We will cloud up tomorrow morning, first thing, but then we'll have sunshine again tomorrow. All right, let's take a look at these temperatures. 89. Let me see if I can go back to the high. The high was 99. Now, I've got to go back and look at the official climatology report and see if we actually hit 100. It was close. On the hourly observation, it was 99, so it was either 99 or 100 for a high temperature. And temperature out there right now, 89. Gonzales is at 86, and Hallettsville's coming in at around 87 degrees. The heat index got up to, again, about 108. All right, so here's Beryl. Let me roll back. Category 1 hurricane. Forecast to become a Category 3 hurricane by tomorrow evening, with maximum sustained winds at 120 miles per hour, and going through the Windward Islands, where, of course, there are hurricane warnings in place, and then staying a major hurricane with winds of 125 in the eastern Caribbean, and staying a major hurricane as it moves close to Jamaica by July 4th. Let's see. Yeah, no, not July 4th. I'm sorry, July 2nd. If you've got any kind of travel plans to the Caymans, could be a problem on July the 3rd, and then on July the 4th we'll be approaching the Yucatan Peninsula. If you've got a 4th of July trip to Mexico down around Cancun or the Yucatan, watch out, because the track, I think, is pretty reliable. The steering currents are fairly reliable, and I think the guidance is going to be pretty much just what the National Hurricane Center has here. It's just the intensities. I don't think the shear is going to be that strong, but I think the National Hurricane Center is just in case. I think they're lowering the strength. So anyway, by July 4th, we could be looking at a Category 1 to a major hurricane in the western portions of the Caribbean, and then moving towards the Yucatan Peninsula. And of course, if it's further to the north, it'll be closer to Cancun. Further to the south, then it'll just kind of slam there into the Yucatan Peninsula. All right, let's take a look at these are the spaghetti plots. When we say spaghetti plots, it's basically the computer models. And the way I do it, I only use dynamic. I don't use a trajectory. I don't use a climatology. I don't use any of those. I just use the dynamic, and you can see that pretty much what the National Hurricane Center has is pretty much right along that dynamic course. I noticed that a lot of these dynamic models have been moving a little further to the south, but the GFS, which is a pretty good model, and some of the other ones are a little bit further to the north there. So if Beryl moves over a wide swath of the Yucatan, really will hurt it quite a bit, and it will likely be a weaker system, and then therefore will likely go further to the west there, so going into Mexico. If it hits just a little bit of the Yucatan, then it'll more likely go towards the northern Mexico coast or even into South Texas there. So it's going to be a really close call, and that's going to be around the 7th or the 8th. Right now, I'm kind of right along the line of, it's just hard to tell exactly where it's going to hit the Yucatan, whether it's closer to Cancun or a little bit further to the south. And I think that's going to make a big difference on the strength and the eventual second landfall of wherever Beryl goes. Okay, let's take a look. This is the disturbance that's close to the Yucatan right now. This is not Beryl. This is a disturbance. There's a good chance that this might develop into another tropical system, into the C name, but I think because the high is so strong to the north, I think it's more than likely just going to stay south and head into Mexico there. All right, there is Beryl. Nice spin, looking pretty good, looking like it's strengthening. And then there's another system that's out in the far eastern Atlantic coming off of Africa, and there's a really good chance that that could develop as well. So we've got a lot of developments going on in the tropics, and it looks like it's going to be a real busy tropical season. Okay, so this is the one model. This is just the GFS model. We got the Canadian, we got the European, several ones that we could use, but I'm going to use the GFS here. The one thing is for sure, almost all the models for the next several days have a real strong ridge of high pressure. So again, anything that happens in the Yucatan will likely go right into Mexico, won't come anywhere near Texas. Stays strong for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and into July 4th. Okay, we start to see approaching the Caymans there, pretty close to it on July 4th. That's Beryl. The shear, again, doesn't look all that strong, so I don't know why it would weaken that much, but sometimes in the Caribbean, it gets a little weird. High pressures in control. It's going to be a hot July 4th, but then again, on January the 1st, I can tell you it's probably going to be a hot July 4th, right? So it's going to be hot, probably no rainfall, that's for sure. And then this is the latest GFS. This came out not too long ago, and it's got just a kind of a clip over the Yucatan, kind of closer to Cancun. And remember what I said about that. If that happens, then Texas is in game probably. And now you got to use this with just a grain of salt. I mean, it's got landfall, I guess, pretty close between South Padre and Corpus Christi, and that would be on the 7th, at the end of the day on the 7th, going into the 8th. If that happened, that would definitely bring us some rain, especially with a northern movement like that. But again, can't say that that is going to happen. I mean, really, anything is fair game from the central Mexican coast all the way to around Galveston. I mean, it's just too hard to tell exactly where this system is going to go. I would say just anywhere in between there. And it's really hard to tell what kind of strength. Like I said before, it just depends on how much time is spent over the Yucatan. So we'll just have to watch it. Like in that headline that I had, next weekend, we'll be watching the Gulf of Mexico to see exactly what happens there. So high temperatures for tomorrow. Well, let's get to the low temperature first. Oops, went too far. There we go. Nope, went too far. There's low temperature in the upper 70s. This particular computer model in the right along 90 has got a few little light showers. I suppose that's possible. And then in the afternoon, I put a 10% chance. Because temperatures are going to be really close to the convective temperature, and the cap's not going to be as strong. The ridge of high pressure is strong, so that's a real limiting factor. So maybe a 10% chance for tomorrow. High temperatures in the upper 90s, and then for Monday morning, again, upper 70s. And then a real hot day for Monday with highs getting close to 100. And I definitely left out any kind of chance for rain for Monday. All right, let's go to the pollen count. This is what we've got here. Molds are 13, 16 heavy. Pigweed is 10 and light. All right, hope that you're digging the 14-day forecast. It takes a little bit longer to put it together, but you know, we've got the technology, so why not? 98 degrees for tomorrow, I think, the high. I threw in at 10%. Be honest, it's kind of a wishful thinking there. Monday, 99 for a high. Tuesday, 100. Wednesday, 98. 4th of July, I think we'll be really close to 100, 99 to 100. And as we head into next weekend, a couple things going to be going on. There's going to be a frontal boundary approaching from the north. It may not ever come through, but it's going to get awful close. And then we'll have Beryl out there in the southern portions of the Gulf of Mexico on Saturday. So I threw in a 20% because that boundary may get close to us. And then Sunday, we may start to feel the effects of Beryl. At this point, all I can give it's a 20% chance, but I did knock down the temperatures just a little bit. 96 on Sunday, 95 on Monday, kept at 20%. Of course, that could really go up just depending on where Beryl goes. And then as we head into, not next week, but the week after, I think high pressure reestablishes itself and it gets hot. Highs 98 to 100 for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then we're looking at, let's see, not the next weekend, but the next weekend on Saturday, July 13th. And that, I went 97. It looked like that high was going to weaken a little bit. So anyway, that's the forecast. That's the way I see it. Couple things going on. Heat advisory, I think, is going to continue at least for tomorrow, probably for the next couple of days after that. 4th of July, hot as a firecracker. I mean, it's going to be somewhere between 95 and 100 for the 4th of July, and I think it's going to be close to 100. And then again, we'll be watching Beryl, see what happens with that. Could be a major hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico. Could hit the Yucatan and just totally fizzle out. So we'll just have to watch. Right now, it's equal bet on either way. But anyway, we'll definitely keep you posted here. I've got the 10 o'clock and coming up in just a little bit. Kind of rare for me to work on a Saturday evening. It's been a while, but anyway, I'm glad that you're here and I'm here. Let's see, Sunday, I'm not sure I think Ryan's back, I think. Maggie's going to be tomorrow morning, and then I will be back Monday morning. Yes. Okay, well, thanks a bunch for streaming with us. We appreciate it, and we'll see you later.